I'm here with Elizabeth Leachman, two times Foot Locker national champion and five-time Texas State champion. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Um, so to start us off, so you competed at the 2024 Olympic trials in the 5,000. What did you think about that experience?
Yeah, it was definitely super cool to be on the line with people I've looked up to for so long. So definitely feeling super blessed to get to be a part of that.
So I believe you were the only high school athlete in that field. So kind of as you got on the line, what was going through your head as you saw those professional and collegiate athletes right next to you?
Yeah, it's definitely a different kind of nerve-wracking to get on the line with people you know are better than you and just knowing that possibly you'll actually finish last. But I was just trying to take in the opportunity and recognize how special of an experience it was. So just enjoy the moment as I could.
Were there any added nerves knowing some of the past success of some of those athletes since they were like the top American athletes?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some nerves just also not knowing how the race would go out. I think in fields like that, they like to race a lot of different ways, and I wouldn't have anticipated the strategy they went for, but it's definitely a good experience overall.
Did you get a chance to talk to any of those athletes while you were there? And then, if you did, who was your favorite one to talk to or that you met?
Yeah, I got to talk to a few of them. I think definitely there's three that stick out, and that's probably Elise Cranny and then Caitlin Toohey and Parker Valby.
What makes them stick out to you?
Elise is just a super cool person, and of course, she's done a lot of really amazing things. I think this was her second or third Olympics, so just super cool to see everything that she's done. But Parker, of course, I've looked up to for a while because she follows a similar training plan to me and a lot more heavy on the cross training. So that's definitely inspiring to me. And then, of course, Caitlin Toohey is just kind of legendary for everything that she's done in high school and college. So
Hmm.
big role model. But
So looking ahead towards 2028, I know that's kind of far from now, but the Olympics are in LA, so it's not too far from home. Has the thought of making the Olympic team then crossed your mind at all?
yeah, I think definitely trying to take seasons as they come, especially after this last cross country season, kind of realizing that nothing's really promised, but I think that if the opportunity presents itself, I'd love to be a part of it.
And if you did compete at the Olympics in 2028, what events would you want to do?
Probably the 5K, but I'm interested in trying the steeple in college, so we'll see.
Yeah. So you mentioned college. What does the recruiting process look like for you so far? And have you been talking to any schools, gone on any visits, anything like that?
Yeah, I feel a little behind sometimes. I haven't gone on any visits, but I have started talking to schools and kind of narrowing down what I'm interested in. So it's been a cool experience, but also definitely a lot going on.
Hmm. Um, so do you have any top choices or favorite schools that you've talked to or thought about at all that you'd like to share?
I've scheduled a couple visits, but we're still kind of trying to figure out exactly how many I'm going to do. So
Hmm.
it's still in the works of narrowing down the last couple schools.
Okay. Um, So going into Foot Locker this year, you won in 2023. So going into it in 2024, did you feel any extra pressure than you did in 2023 since you won the previous year?
Yeah, I think it was definitely a whole kind of different situation this year, just after having such an up and down cross country season, and of course, coming off the win last year. But I think going into it, I was really trying to keep the mindset of just having fun with it. I really didn't decide to do the regional until like 3 days before, and the real reason I decided to do it was I didn't think I was in contention to win anything at NXN or at Foot Locker, so I figured it might as well just go for the experience and have fun with it. An extra week of racing doesn't really hurt anyone, so yeah, I think I just tried to remember that I was there to have fun and how much I love being a part of that meet. But of course, you do go there to race, and so I mean, there was some pressure, but I think I really tried to focus on the experience overall.
That's good. So there's never been anyone to win Foot Locker three times. Has So, do you think you could be the first since you got one more year?
I don't know, we'll see. I'd love to be, but we'll find out pretty soon, I guess.
Okay. So talking about NXN a little bit, you went there 2 years in a row as well. So in 2023, it may not have played out exactly how you want. You took kind of an aggressive move at the beginning and led a lot of the race. So do you have any regrets at all about taking the lead that early? And then is there anything that you may have learned then that could benefit young runners hoping to compete at your level?
Yeah, I think it's hard looking back at it. I definitely see like where I could have slowed down and where I could have made improvements, but at the same time I look back on it and I realize that it's very unlikely that on the course that there is at Balboa, I would have won had I raced really well at NXN. Um, so I mean, yes, there is some things that I look back and I'm like, I shouldn't have done that, but I'm also grateful for kind of the experience and the insight it gave me into future races.
Yeah, so in 2023, you sat back a lot more, kind of took it a little bit more slowly throughout the race. So was that the race plan going into it, or was it more of a in the moment decision?
Yeah, I think we'd sat down and kind of talked about it a little bit. And after walking through the course and really watching the races from the years before, it's a pretty difficult course. So I think the idea was just to have something the second time going up the hill because if your legs are dead at that point, you're just hanging on for dear life. Um, so yeah, it was definitely scary for me because I don't usually race from the back, but we decided that it was going to have to be what we tried if I wanted to have a chance. So
Yeah. So in both 2023 and 2024, you competed at both Nike Cross Nationals and Foot Locker. You placed really highly in both. You won Foot Locker both years and placed really highly at Nike both years as well. Do you plan to run both of them again in 2025?
yeah, I think those are two of my favorite races overall between cross country and track. So as long as my health is good and I'm not injured, I would love to do both again.
So has the idea of winning both crossed your mind at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely something that I think of as a really good goal, but the cards would have to be played out exactly right. I know that the competition's just really amazing, so you'd have to have pretty much two perfect days, 2 weeks back to back. But I mean, if I ever got the opportunity, of course, that would be something I'd love to be able to accomplish.
Hmm. So looking at your recent track and cross country seasons, you've won nearly every race. So do you think there will be a time in your high school career that you win every race in a season?
I don't know, it's hard to say. And I mean, I guess it just depends where you're racing and what you're doing that season. But I think whether I do or I don't, I think that there's definitely things you can learn from every race. And as long as you're getting better with each one, that's really the goal.
Hmm. Um, and so you've got to compete at a lot of very big meets, like for track and cross country. So of all the major meets that you've been to, which one would you say has been your favorite?
I am more of a cross country person, but I think overall, probably Nike Indoor Nationals. I just love the Armory. I love the atmosphere there, and just being in New York City to race is super cool. So that's definitely one of my favorites and probably my favorite.
Awesome. So looking at, so you've competed at the trials, you won Foot Locker twice. So there's likely a lot of young athletes that look up to you as a runner and want to be more like you. So who's a runner that you would say that you look up to the most?
Yeah, I think probably Parker Valby, just really watching what she did and seeing how successful she could be without running super high mileage was really what inspired me to kind of take a chance on myself and just hope that the cross training paid off. So I'd probably say her, but of course, lots of great women to look up to.
So you do a lot of cross training then in your training.
I do. I only run 3 to 4 days a week, just depending on the week.
So what kind of cross training do you like to do?
Mostly I'm on the arc trainer, but I'll also swim, and in the summer I aqua jog a lot. Um,
Okay.
I don't bike a lot. I wish I could say I do, but I don't.
Okay. So just the last thing, we put out an Instagram story so people could submit some questions for you. So the first one is, what is your favorite course or state to run in?
Ooh, my favorite course. I really love the NXR course, actually, the one in the Woodlands.
Hmm.
That was a rough race for me this year. I don't know why it felt terrible, but I love that course. It's really pretty, so probably that.
What was the transition like going from the Olympic trials straight to cross country?
Yeah, definitely a shorter kind of break, and it was just very uncertain because I was kind of injured at that point. So I had to take a month off, and then basically within 3 weeks, we were back to cross country season. But I think, I mean, that's part of the sport. It really is kind of year round at this point, it seems like. So I think it was fine. It was fun to be able to be back to it and have something to motivate me.
What is your favorite workout?
It changes. I really like tempos right now, though. I think those are just fun, a nice smooth tempo.
And then what does your training look like? I know we already talked about that a little bit, but like, can you give us an idea of what maybe a typical training week would look like for you?
Yeah, so usually I'll do 2 to 3 workouts in a week and then a long run, and then 2 to 3 days of just easy cross training just to keep the heart rate up.
Mhm. Awesome. All right, so that's all the questions I have for you. So thank you. Thank you for making time to
Perfect.
do this.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.